We usually think of relationships as something that happens between two people. A healthy individual has different sides of their own personality. I am in a relationship with myself. Treat yourself like you would treat a child. One that is very ambitious and the other one that just wants to play. That's what you hear all the time. You are always in the company of yourself. To love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance, which is easy to say when you're having such a great hair day. But loving yourself is not always for granted, and it's about more than just treating yourself a pumpkin spice latte every day. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to the Communication Couch. It sure did take a while, but we are finally back. And this video will be about self-compassion. So make sure to watch the video until the end, because in the end I will tell you my personal 3 steps on the path towards that. You probably spend more time concerning yourself with the relationships you have with others than thinking about the relationship you have with yourself. Partly because just saying that out loud kind of makes you sound crazy. We usually think of relationships as something that happens between two people. Since people have similar or different goals and motives, they can get along or they can get into conflict. But we see an individual as one autonomous unity. So one person, we assume, always does what is best for them, and they can't get into conflict with himself or herself. Because again, that's kind of Jim Carrey movie material. But psychology shows that even a healthy individual has different sides of their own personality. So for example, there might be a side of you that's very nice and likes to help out other people, but then there's another side that's a little selfish. Or there might be a side of you that is very outgoing and adventurous, but then again also a side that just likes to stay at home alone. Or there might be a side there that is very ambitious, but then another one that just wants to eat chips and watch Netflix. Nothing wrong with that. And this is how internal conflict happens. When 2 or even more sides of yourself want to choose different paths to achieve a goal, or even have completely different perceptions on how you should live your life. So when you put it that way, you gotta admit it sounds a little bit like a romantic relationship. Let me show you what I mean. Hello. Oh, hi. I have an appointment today. Ah, yes, of course. Take a seat. So, your partner couldn't make it? Oh no, he's right here. What do you mean? Well, I am in a relationship with myself. Okay, so what seems to be the problem? Well, we used to be very happy. We would do stuff together, we would travel, take walks together, do movie nights. But recently he has been so obsessed with work. We don't do anything anymore. It's just been work, 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 and it's driving me crazy. I can't take it anymore. And when you say he, you mean? Well, of course, I mean myself. Well, do you have anything to say in your defense? Oh, is that so? But you don't mind the fancy eating, the clothes, all those things? If it was up to you, we'd never get anything done. And don't even get me started on how much candy you've been eating. Well, you gotta live, man. I'm up to here with all the working out and protein-rich foods and vegetables. So you want to lose all the gains we worked so hard for? I'm trying to keep us healthy. Oh, you just want to look good on Instagram. You know, you are one irresponsible, you're a narcissistic, lazy, workaholic, ungrateful, bossy ass gentleman. I mean, sir, or whatever you refer to yourself as. This is pointless. Don't you understand that these are the 2 sides of your own personality? 2 different motives fighting over what they believe is right for you. but you are a weird one-person team. So you have to find a balance between the two. Make little concessions and compromises to each other, because ultimately neither one can be happy if the other one is unhappy. Yeah, makes sense. Maybe we could start by just going to the office quickly to get a little bit more work. Oh, you are far too kind. Well, a lot of effort goes into making these sketches, and I never really know if they're really funny or just plain stupid before I publish them. So if you like this one, let me know in a comment down below, because then I'll know that it's worth the effort and I'll keep making them, or I'll just stop making a fool of myself. Also, if you like the show, click those pretty little buttons that say subscribe and the one that looks like a thumbs up, because that really helps the YouTube algorithm so that this video gets shown to more people. Merci beaucoup. Oh. So, here's the thing. Sometimes we treat other people better than how we treat ourselves. This can come in many ways. For example, easily forgiving someone else for their mistake, but having a hard time forgiving yourself. Or being very generous when it comes to others, but rarely treating yourself. Or maybe even having high expectations of yourself, while your expectations of others are actually pretty chill. This is also something that Jordan Peterson wrote about in his book 12 Rules for Life. There he explored why sometimes people take really good care of someone else when they're sick, or even when their dog is sick, but sometimes won't take medicine that they need to get better when they are sick. That's why one of his rules is treat yourself like someone you're responsible for helping. I personally like to think you should treat yourself like you would treat a child, just in case you ever want to quote that. Apparently, a big part of how we treat ourselves is based on how our parents treated us. So if you had loving parents, or a parent, or a parental figure, you internalize this way of treating yourself. In other words, you become your own parent. Because after all, the adult life is kind of all about that. Looking after yourself like your parents looked after you, in terms of providing for your needs, like food, finance, safety, and doing your own laundry. Yeah, I also thought that the grown-up life would be much more fun. What I'm saying is this. A lot of people tend to say, "Oh, I'm an idiot," when they do something wrong. But would you say that to your child? Would you say that to another person? Would you even let someone call one of your friends an idiot? Well, then why do that to yourself? Is that fair? Don't you deserve at least the same treatment that you give others? For me personally, I always felt like there are these two main sides of me. One that is very ambitious, and the other one that just wants to play. So sometimes one of them is dominant, sometimes it's the other. Sometimes there's a bit of friction between them, because I'd either be pushing myself too hard or I would be slacking around too much. And these times when they were unbalanced were the most unhappy times for me. And I discovered that the key, for me at least, is to try to balance them out as much as possible. But whatever the case, that relationship with myself always felt like kind of a home or a port. And I would leave that home to go out and meet people and have relationships with them, and then come back to myself. And if I had some kind of a negative experience, if someone hurt me, I could always go back to the safety of myself. So even if I was lonely, I would always still be in good company, my own. So how do you develop that self-compassion and treat yourself in a way where you're not too harsh on yourself, but you also keep yourself growing and achieve the things you want? So in a way, treat yourself like a good parent would. For me personally, it's a journey, and I am also still on that journey. But In my experience, there's 3 simple steps that you can take to get yourself started. The first step is spending more time trying to understand yourself. We often just do things and react to things that happen to us without really contemplating why we do these things and why we have the habits that we do. So the easiest and simplest way of studying yourself is, I think, writing a diary. Dear diary. Now that doesn't have to be every day, and you don't have to write every single thing that happens to you. But if you do it once a week or even once a month, it can really help. Writing down the things that happen in your life, as well as how they make you feel and how you react to them. Today I ate an ice cream which made me happy. Helps you see your own patterns, and maybe even helps you understand how these patterns were created in the first place. And that's the very same experience that we sometimes go through with other people. For example, if there is someone you really don't like, but at some point you get to know their story and what they went through in their life that made them the way they are, and then all of a sudden you have more understanding and more empathy for this person. Then comes the second step, which is integrating this in how you talk to yourself. We all talk to ourselves, maybe if not out loud, then in our mind. And it's a big difference if your inner voice is harsh, saying things like, "Oh, you're doing everything wrong." Or if it's something like, "Look how far you've come, you're doing well. What is wrong?" Because that's what you hear all the time. You can't escape it. So you bet that it ends up making a big difference. Finally, the third step that I like to do is, in a way, negotiate with myself and create balanced habits. Maybe you're trying to eat healthy, but you can't help and eat a pizza every once in a while, and then you guilt trip yourself. What you can do is negotiate with yourself and see how many cheat meals you can tolerate in a week. For example, you make an agreement with yourself that you can have 2 cheat meals a week. That way you can have those pizzas and enjoy them without that voice giving you a hard time, because that was the agreement. And then there's also a fourth step, which is kind of like a bonus one, and it's all about hitting that subscribe button and leaving a comment down below. By the way, for all of you who are going to write, "Oh, where's the dog? Why don't we get to see the dog in this episode?" Here's the dog. Okay. So these are some things that work for me. Still, every person is a different puzzle, and everyone has to figure out these things for themselves. But I hope that at least I got you thinking about this, because ultimately the relationship you have with yourself is perhaps the most important one you'll ever have. After all, you are the only person in your life that's going to be with you in every moment of your life. Everyone else comes and goes, unfortunately, but you are always in the company of yourself. And life is much more pleasant when you're in good company. Thank you, and have a great day.